right? So now this baby grows up, starts wearing a dress, and is now 18. And now, as soon as that baby turns 18, the mom does not get baby bonus anymore, because now this baby is old enough to contract and is responsible for its own affairs. Right now, this baby is still deemed to be Her Majesty's ally. It's deemed to be the property of Her Majesty. Okay? When you take a look at this Statement of Live Birth, the wording at the bottom, in Ontario especially, it says, "I'm satisfied to the accurateness and completeness and sufficiency of this statement." And what that means is it's to transfer the deed over there, and the sufficiency of it is the absolving of the parents for selling their children into slavery. The Register General has the ability to do that, forgive the parents for selling their children into slavery. So now the Queen Mum is responsible for this, which represents the deed to this. But this is always 2 days old. However, now this has the ability to contract for this. So now this thing is 18 years old and says, well, usually it happens around 14, 15, 16, they try to get a job. So now they want to go back to Canada and say, I want a job. And what does Canada tell them? Where's your social insurance number? We want to know if you're allowed to work for us. I don't have one of those. How do I get one? What do you need to get a social insurance number? Birth certificate. Okay. You want to come into our corporation, a foreign jurisdiction, and work. You're going to have to come in with a surety bond if you want to work for us, so that if you damage anybody inside our corporation, that we're indemnified. So you go out and get the surety bond, then you go back to Canada and you say, look, I got a surety bond. So this thing will have, oops, in Ontario, last first. This thing will have actually it'll have nothing like that. This will have first name, last name, and it'll describe it all. This thing says name. It doesn't say first name, last name. It says name. That tells you that this is, excuse me, very different than this. And this thing also says name, but it says, so you can tell that these are 3 different entities. How many people, when they get the birth certificates, it has like who they ship it to and then the birth certificate's underneath? And a lot of times you'll see that one name. So we're going to ship the last first birth certificate to first last. But they know it's the same, you think the same person, but they even describe it differently. But they always ship it to I don't know, 3Z4. They will ship it to an address, a postal code. Now that you have a surety bond, you are now manning the post with a postal address. There's a postal address associated with this birth certificate, who is the trustee of this document. You are now manning the post for the Queen, and they're going to ship the surety bond over to your post so that you can function the post and act as a very good trustee to look after this birth certificate. And you have a residence. How many people have ever been stopped by an officer for speeding? One? Oh. Did they ask you, how many people have been asked where they reside?
Right here.
You don't reside anywhere. So what happened is that you used to be over here on this side. Then you turned 18 and you said, I know what I'll do. I'll go and run my own affairs, and I'm going to man a military post. And if you're going to man a military post, you reside inside Canada, which is an enemy of Her Majesty. This, remember, is... Am I just getting this all messed up?
No.
This is over here under common law England. And the Queen has the responsibility to look after this. Mom quit when you were 18. You man this post now. And every time we write a bill of exchange, a check, get a mortgage, anything else, we sign. Because we're manning the post, we have the authority, because we're the ones who ask. We authorize them to extract from here and bring an extract over to the military post, and now we're walking around with a surety bond. And when we sign, where does the credit come from? It comes from your share of the Commonwealth. So what's happening is every time the authorized agent in the residence signs, the credit comes from here, well, through Canada. And if you take a look at the Interpretations Act, Canada is defined as a territorial sea and the navigable waterways. And if you want to know more than the Interpretations Act, go see the Oceans Act. So the Interpretations Act says Canada is the navigable waterways and the territorial sea. Go see the Oceans Act for more detail. The Oceans Act says Canada is a 12-mile strip around the land, and the territory or the navigable waterways, wherever, right? And it also, the Oceans Act tells people how to write speeding tickets for vessels that are derelict. So now you're standing over here in the colony. The credit is over here, the waterways and the territorial sea, and it defines. It says Canada for greater certainty, and it even defines it very clearly. And it says the provinces of Canada are the Yukon, Northwest Territories, and Nunavut. And they have a whole lot of snow up here. And I wonder if the territorial sea would be considered everything that's the snow. Underwater, under Admiralty. So now your military post is over here, and the Queen is trying to get, well, anyway, so whatever happens, you sign, the money comes from here into here, and you go through Canada to do it. And this is why there's a tax on everything. This is what, anyway, that's your part. So what happens is that we have asked for an issue. The Queen says, I'll take care of everybody. The Queen is a defender of the faith. And God said to everyone, well, okay, I'm going to throw in religion in here. But anyway, there's a whole lot of people that believe that God looks after everything, whoever that God might be to you. And the Queen is a defender of all faiths, no particular religion. And what happened is that we say, no, we don't trust the Queen and we don't trust God, and we're going to go and do it ourselves. So now we have resided. We're against the Queen. And what happens is the military protects the Treasury, and we're on the other side. The military is protecting this side, and we're on this side. We're against the military, and this is why we're an enemy of the state. And this is why I believe when you take this and send it back in here, the military is now there to protect you. And this is why, figuratively speaking, you got the treasury on one side and the bank on the other. So this is, and this is credit, right? The military is there to protect the private side, the credit. The police are there to protect the corporations and the bars that go between to make sure that everything functions. It doesn't matter where you go, if you have a problem with anybody, post office, licensing, they get jammed up, who's the first one they call is a lawyer, because it's the Crown that runs everything as trustee for this whole corporation for the benefit of these 4 provinces were formed into the Dominion of Canada. The Dominion of Canada created 4 more provinces. Can a fictional government create a territory? No. This land has never been ceded to the Crown that you're standing on. This still belongs to these people, held in trust.
Yeah, I know that.
By these guys, for these guys. There's a bunch of them in this room. If you guys want to say hi.
Do we owe them money?
Well, somebody does.